Growing up in Freetown, Sierra Leone, some of my favorite movies were Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, King Solomon's Mines, Tarzan and the likes. For books, it was Merchant of Venice, all 16 volumes of the Junior World Encyclopedia, and The Last of the Mohicans. These were my go-to escape. We didn't have cable then. We had a national TV that came on at 4 p.m. and ended broadcast at 12 midnight. Then again, the power supply wasn't nearly constant. Just a quick digression. I can vividly remember going 8 months without power, and out of the blue, the supply came on. The entire Freetown was ecstatic. People were screaming, children were dancing because they hadn't seen power for a while. These were the good old days anyway. So you had to be creative to entertain yourself or go to the cinema or read books. But as I grew older and because of the Civil War, we had to escape to Nigeria. I started having a paradigm shift. I went on to study mass communication in college and came to the realization that these very books and movies and TV programs I loved were the most powerful tools in cultural imperialism. The storyline in most of these productions is as follows. The natives were terrible, people who were evil and engaged in all sorts of despicable acts. And here is this educated and cultured archaeologist who clearly had the moral justification to wreak havoc. It was a pretty straightforward storyline. White expat is the protagonist, brown and black locals were the antagonists. And there we were rooting for the protagonist to succeed. It didn't occur to us that he was stealing from the locals, disrupting their economic life, and killing a few people in the process. That is the power of a story. That someone can show you how they came to your land, stole your arts and artifacts, your cultural symbols, killed your people, and you pay $14.99 to see it on the screens or keep it on your bookshelves. That is the conditioning we've received from literature and entertainment for decades. It has made us insensitive to the plight of some groups while we root for the success of another. Most religious texts are replete with stories because stories arouse deep sentiments, deep emotions from us. Stories are powerful tools that can stir empathy or hate depending on how you manipulate it. So for example, more people will pick up chess from watching The Queen's Gambit or Queen of Katwe than if someone told them that chess will help their critical thinking. In other words, stories, especially fiction, help us to remove our defenses just for a moment and go on a journey with the subject, the human journey that we all embark on. That is where the problem lies. For a very long time, the success of many entertainment offerings relied on the dehumanization of particular groups of people. To make them as human as the protagonist was to risk backlash. You can't just steal somebody's property. You can't just wipe out an entire village of human beings, but call them barbarians, uncultured, primitive, godless, and then you can justify whatever comes to them. So how do we bring back or put back the humanity in these societies? It is by actively engaging with the people and their culture. The history of black and brown people is not just that. It's not just their history. It is the history of mankind. It is by reading their stories. It has been said that stories help us to see with the eyes of the storyteller. That means that those who have been victims of this mischaracterization in entertainment and literature must begin to tell their own stories. And those who have perpetrated these acts should be bold enough to put on these glasses, to put on these lenses, to put on these frames, and embrace these stories, to read the stories of these societies, thereby connecting with our common humanity. My name is Henry. Peace.